In this video, I will explain how the Canadian Trucker Freedom Convoy is a massive prophetic sign from God. It is a prophetic sign that is part of a big picture of signs. To prove this, I am predicting that US Vice President Kamala Harris will die in a plane crash on March 27th, 2024. How this is known in advance will be explained in this video. The date that this video is posted proves that this prediction is being made ahead of time, as does this time-stamped email and forensic notes PDF document. If you are skeptical for some reason, please email me and I will forward these to you. As can be seen in this email, the prediction that Kamala Harris will die in a plane crash has been known since at least August 5th, 2021. I will also prove that the Trucker Freedom Convoy protest was a massive prophetic sign from the righteous Christian God of the Bible through the prediction that President Trump will die from a heart attack on May 9th, 2024. The Trucker Freedom Convoy was a long line of trucks that traversed the continent parallel with the US-Canada border wall of security. Before the walls of security of the ancient city of Jericho collapsed in God's judgment, the Israelites blew 7 trumpets. And in terms of prophetic symbolism, Trump's election campaign and presidency were symbolized by his border wall of security. The number 9 is the most important number in God's big picture of signs, patterns, and connections, as from the Bible it symbolizes God's judgment. The 9th of May will be 900,000 minutes after the release of the letter written by Mrs. Wall of the National Archives and Records Administration regarding 700 pages of supposedly classified documents that the FBI obtained from Trump after they breached his estate's walls of security. In turn, the day of Mrs. Wall's letter regarding 700 pages of classified documents was 188 days after the climax of the Trucker Freedom Convoy protest prophetic sign with the Emergencies Act in the Canadian Parliament, which, as I will explain, was a massive trumpet judgment of America's and Canada's walls of security collapsing in God's judgment. God uses the number 188 for connections, as the 188th word in Strong's Hebrew Concordance is the word woe! Used in context of extreme judgment from God, including in the book of Revelation regarding prophecy for the end of the age. In Bible prophecy, the end times period of the Antichrist is symbolized by 7 years. Miss Wall's letter regarding 700 pages of documents was released exactly 7 years after ISIS blew up the ancient temple of the god Baal in Palmyra, Syria. This was in the summer of 2015, shortly after Trump first announced that he was running for president after his famous descent on the golden escalator in his Trump Tower. In other words, the Temple of Baal was destroyed at the symbolic beginning of Trump. The Capitol building in Washington, D.C. is said to be America's temple of democracy. In one of the corridors of the Capitol building is inscribed, "We have built no temple but the Capitol. We consult no common oracle but the Constitution." God pairs the numbers 9 and 110 together to confirm his signs, patterns, and connections. It was Joshua in the Bible who led the Israelites in a march around the walls of security of Jericho over 7 days before 7 trumpets were blown. And then the walls of security collapsed in God's judgment. It was Joshua, the leader, the president of the Israelites that led them in their march around the walls of security of Jericho before they blew trumpets and the walls collapsed in God's judgment. Joshua died at the age of 110. Trump will die 900,000 minutes after Miss Wall's letter, which was exactly 110 days after lawyers filed for information on 80 actors that are suspected at America's Temple on the 6th day of the first month in 2021. 110 days followed by 900,000 minutes is a pairing of 9 and 110 that confirm the signs and connections. One reason why God pairs 9 and 110 together to confirm his signs, patterns, and connections is that it hints at the 110 stories that collapsed in the towers on 9/11, which pointed to Isaiah chapter 9, verse 11. Additionally, on 9/11, Trump famously called into Channel 9 News and mentioned how his tower at 40 Wall Street had become the tallest in Lower Manhattan. Wall Street is named after the 9-foot-high wall of security that the Dutch built to keep the British and the Indians out. 80 actors that are suspected from the 6th day of the first month were in the news 110 days before Miss Wall's letter. On the 6th day of the first month, it was announced that 80 Trumpers had been arrested at America's Temple, with the oldest being 80 years old. Also on the 6th day of the first month, inside America's Temple, it was 80 House representatives that objected to the shoplifted referendum results. This is because Trump is God's King Jehu from the book of 2 Kings in the Bible, and Jehu sent 80 men into the temple of Baal to destroy the temple and the prophets of Baal. Exactly 80 weeks before Miss Wall's letter was released was the first day of Trump's impeachment trial, which focused on his call at 1:10 p.m. to march to America's Temple. 1:10 p.m. hints at the number 110, the age at which Joshua died. The call to march at 1:10 p.m. and the subsequent breach of the security perimeter wall around America's Temple is an allusion to the trumpets that were blown after the Israelites marched around the walls of security of Jericho, led by Joshua. Archaeology proves that the walls of the ancient city of Jericho collapsed due to an earthquake, which is why Trump's impeachment trial over his call to march at 1:10 p.m. was exactly 50 years after America's most consequential earthquake in history, the San Fernando Valley earthquake on February 9th, 1971. It is said that had the earthquake lasted 3 more seconds, the wall at the dam in San Fernando would have collapsed and killed thousands of people. This connection from Trump's impeachment trial over his call to march at 1:10 p.m., followed by 900,000 minutes to the predicted date of his death and the last Trump sign, is another pairing of the numbers 9 and 110, which confirms the connections. The date that this video is posted proves that this prediction is being made ahead of time, as does this time-stamped email and Forensic Notes PDF document. If you are skeptical for some reason, please email me and I will forward these to you. The number 9 symbolizes God's judgment, and God frequently repeats a number 3 times for emphasis of its symbolic meaning. The number 93 hints at 3 nines. The sun is 93 million miles away from Earth. 93 days after the climax of the trucker freedom protest prophetic sign, with the Emergencies Act in the Canadian Parliament in Ottawa was the day that 900,000 people in Ottawa were without power due to a massive destructive windstorm weather event. As will be explained in this video, this weather event is pointing to the coming space weather event and solar flare from the sun that will knock out the power grid in North America. It will be a catastrophic emergency in Canada and America. The windstorm event in Ottawa was 93 days after the Emergencies Act prophetic sign in Ottawa. The sun is 93 million miles away from Earth, and on 9/11, it was Flight 93 that crashed with 44 people on board, which is why the Emergencies Act was tabled in the 44th Canadian Parliament, which points to the Antichrist in an emergency, the 44th President. The predicted date that the power grid will go down due to this predicted catastrophic solar flare will be on April 1st, 2024, which will be exactly 110 weeks after the use of the Emergencies Act was approved in the Canadian Parliament. 110 weeks is 110 days times 7 days, and Joshua led the Israelites in their march around Jericho 7 times before the walls of security collapsed in God's judgment, and Joshua died at the age of 110. The Emergencies Act was passed in the Canadian Parliament by a margin of 34 votes, and this hinted at Isaiah chapter 34 in the Bible about judgment on the nations. More regarding this upcoming solar flare emergency and Canada's derecho windstorm will be explained later in this video. Some social media sites have a maximum length for videos that can be posted, and so I need to cut this video into 2 parts. Click on the link to watch the remainder of this video. You can also find this link in the description box below this video. Make sure you watch the remainder of this extremely important video that is posted on a different channel than the one you are watching now. The link to the rest of this video is in the description box below this video. If the link is not in the description box below this video, visit Odysee.com, which is spelled Odyssee.com. On Odysee.com, in the search bar, type the name of my channel, Harris Crash Prediction. Then go into the channel by clicking the channel name, Harris Crash Prediction. Once you are on the channel's homepage, then click Content. Then use the channel's search box. This is different than the Odysee.com search box. Search for this video by typing the same video title as the title of the video you are currently watching. Alternatively, for more information on how to find this video, visit the website harriscrashprediction.com. Hopefully you at least found this introduction video to be interesting, and if so, please leave a like and a comment and upvote the video, and please help this video to go viral by sharing it with everyone you know and sharing it everywhere in social media.